Hi everybody, it's Carrie. Hello. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. If you're not, welcome back. I want to show you guys before I get into the video my autism awareness shirt that I did show you guys a couple videos back. By the way guys, these videos are all being filmed around the same time. The same day, so I'm still wearing the shirt. So it says unique, amazing, blessed, loved. So guys, this is a little hair wash day, so my hair is down yesterday. It's past 3 o'clock, so this is technically the day after. This is why my hair is down. So guys, this video is not going to be a happy video. I'm warning you guys right now. This may be considered emotional. I mean, this video. Guys, this video, I've been meaning to make a house fire survivor video. So I'll talk about how I was a house fire survivor. I decided to just finally sit down or stand up to do it and tell you guys. And before I get into this video, guys, names of my relatives have been changed in this video for their own protection or for their memories protection. So I did come up with cover names for my cousins. So you guys know I am a house fire survivor. And because of my disabilities, my visual impairment, my hearing impairment, and the fact that I actually am dyslexic, guys, not autistic. But they used to think I was autistic because I'm unique. So anyway, guys, because of that, most people feared that when this day would come, I would not be able to get out of bed. Plus, I love to sleep in all day. My aunt even said that, well, guys, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, guys, before I just want to kind of get into this point, too, guys. This house fire thing has happened 3 times in my family. I am the 3rd one. They say power comes with 3, right, guys? They say, and this is the creepy thing which chills down my spine, the power of 3, I think the bad luck comes in 3s, guys. And I had 3 cousins. I had 3 cousins in 2 different fires who passed away. Now, guys, I think my cousin, this happened to the first fire. He's been gone long enough that we don't need to cover name him. My Uncle Frank, who was my mom's, favorite uncle, who used to come to the parties, guys, come give her presents and everything. He suffered with alcoholism, and I'm not saying this is bash Uncle Frank in any way. I barely remember Uncle Frank. I think he died when I was really young. Anyway, guys, he used to cry a lot, and he would drink, and God knows what else, and he would sit there and cry, and my mom one day said to him, Uncle Frank, why do you drink a lot? And she was probably maybe 12, 11, 10. He looked at my mother with tears in his eyes and said, Mickey, I have to kill what's ever in me. I have to kill my feelings. And my mother looked at him and was like, what, Uncle Frank? He said, it should have been me that day, not my son, not my wife. As my uncle's heartbreaking story went on, my uncle was a policeman. He was the chief of police. And he was called in on his day off from work. A day that, because guys, I like to say God wasn't ready for him to go home yet. That is my expression for heaven. Aslan's country. Aslan wasn't ready for him to go to heaven yet. Reaper Chief wasn't ready to greet him at the gates of heaven. Reaper Chief was not ready to meet him at the gates of Aslan's country. He got called in unexpectedly. Guys, sorry about that. Uncle Frank went to work, and the worst thing happened you could imagine, guys. A house fire broke out. My aunt and cousin were killed in the fire. Guys, I swear, guys, I'm not making this up. So this happened long before I was born, long before my mother was born even. So this was many, 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 many years ago. The power of 3, guys. About 10 years before I was born. Back up, guys. My cousins, this is not their real names, may I add, in case you guys try to look them up. Dennis and Giovanni, who are my parents' whole world. My aunt and uncle, my Uncle Dennis, not his real name, who's actually the one who's dying of cancer, guys. So this is why I don't want to give out their real names, because my uncle he's not in hospice yet, guys, but we don't know how much longer he's got till he's going. So Uncle Dennis is going to hospice, and he has cancer. And anyway, guys, his biggest regret was he let a babysitter watch his kids, and the babysitter, being a kid, left early. Guys, a fire broke out that night. I'm sorry, guys, you don't want to do my fire because it's got a build to it. And the boys didn't survive. And, guys, that's sad. That's heartbreaking. My mother had a mental breakdown, I believe, guys, and she never came back from it. My aunt, Karen, called the one who I did the Storytime one, called my dad up and said, I don't get my dad's name out here, and said Giovanni, almost said their real names, and Dennis were killed in a fire. And my dad was like, no way, like, no, like, this isn't true, like, Karen, this is awful, like, this can't be true. She's, I'm serious. You and Michelle need to get here, like, dead serious. My mother, like, didn't believe it. Like, my mother went into shock. So she showed up there, guys. It was horrible. The house was burned down and everything else, guys. I don't want to tell too much about the story because it's a touchy family issue. I mean, guys, my uncle tried to get back in there. Uncle Dennis tried to get back in there to save the boys, and they couldn't. They said he would have got back in there. That fireman would have been charged with killing him as well. And this is the uncle, guys, who always taught me, stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. And he taught this in the family. He was teaching all of us this, guys. He is the uncle who taught me that if you ever get in that fire, you get out carrying. And he said, I don't care what's in there, you get out. I don't care if it's your amazing Amy, which was my most prized possession, guys. My most prized possession. He was 6. Or Emily, my baby doll. Amelia, who I still have. Katie or Kelly or any of your dolls, any of your Barbies, anybody's in there. Cecile, my favorite Barbie as a kid. If anybody is in there, your teacher Barbie, leave them. Do not go back in. He told me to break a window. Uncle Dennis picked up the chair and was like, this is how you do it. And I threw it at the window. And my dad came up behind him. And guys, I think it was God speaking through him. Because he said, listen to your uncle, honey. He knows what he's talking about. My dad said that losing the boys was one of the worst experiences of his entire life. Over losing my biological brother and sister, who just, my sister doesn't talk to us, and my brother does. Anyway, guys, this is where my mother actually also said to my brother, to Derek, also a code name, said to him, Carrie Ann will be the one that will save us all. It will take her hand to free us. Carrie Ann will be the survivor and the only survivor of the fire. Now, guys, that sounds bizarre. I mean, I was an infant dying of blood loss, and my mother is saying this. I was in a coma, and my mother kept saying this. My mother kept saying this all my life. Like, she's going to be our survivor. She's going to be our salvation. It will take her hand to save us. Guys, let's see. August 16th, 2010 is the day I should have died. It's the day I was supposed to die. It started off like any day, guys. I was on my phone, hee ha ha, right? And I just had this really weird feeling. I didn't feel good. I went to bed early. Something in my heart told me to go out with Daddy grocery shopping. Well, I didn't listen. Guys, I touched my hair last one. Sorry. It's kind of an emotional story. Anyway, guys, I didn't listen and I overslept. And I swear, guys, I had a dream of Dennis and Giovanni. I don't want to say their real names. And another boy. And I was dreaming this. I dreamt of them busting in my door and saying, Carrie Ann, get up right now. Get up. Do not join us. Get up right now. And the two boys began fighting. Of course, guys, I was dreaming this. I was probably having a hallucination. I was dying from smoking inhalation. I was probably having a hallucination. Anyway, guys, worst comes to worst. I heard, well, what should have been, because, guys, I never really heard their voices. They were 3 and 5 when they passed away. I heard Dennis say, well, you know what? If she joins us, she'll be forever with us, happily ever after. She won't feel any more pain. She'll be happy. And that's when Giovanni said, no, we would do this for Morgan, a cover name for my cousin. I don't want to say her name on here. Though her name is more common than Morgan, but like I said, like, would we lay down and let Morgan die? Would we watch her burn in flames? No, we would not let Morgan go the way we did. And we're not going to let Carrie Ann go the way we did. We took a vow the day she was born. The day we found out that Aunt Shell was carrying her, that we would treat her exactly like we do Morgan. Morgan is older than me, guys, that's why. Anyway, they said, well, we can't get her up. I mean, banging, everything, guys. I heard creepy stuff that day that I could not see or hear before in my life. They said, we have one more ace in the hole. Get Aunt Shell and bring her in. Guys, it was the creepiest thing. I was dreaming my mother's doppelganger came in and pushed me. I was so happy to see her. Like, my mom had actually died, guys, in that November prior to his fire happening. And I seen my mother walking, which scared the crap out of me, because, you know, my mother was in a wheelchair. So I was like, ooh, Mom, you're walking. But, like, cool, okay, whatever. But she said she loved me, and she was sorry for this, but she could not let this happen. And then there was a little boy that turned to my mom and said, Nana, something's happening to me. And my mom went, oh crap! If this is happening to you, it's happening to Carrie, and she's dying. We need to get in there and bust in there and wake her up. If she's in some kind of coma, guys, I think my body was starting to shut down due to smoke inhalation. Guys, I was in a smoke inhalated whole house. There was fire in my basement. Anyway, guys, I basically would have died of smoke inhalation if my mother, maybe it was my mother's angel, maybe it was Giovanni and Dennis's angel. I don't know, I'm still honest. But guys, if it wasn't for that hallucination, I would not be standing here in front of you guys, and I would be gone over 10 years. My mom said, I love you, and you know I would never hit you in the walking world. My mother's, and the guys, I said, this wasn't my actual mother, this was my hallucination. I'm going to get this clear. My mother never slapped me in real life like this. But this hallucination came over. Guys, I was dreaming, and in a dream, it smacked me in the face, and it pushed me. But guys, when my mother pushed me in that dream, my back hit the wall, and my back started to hurt. My actual back, I looked up, was in pain, and I smelled the smoke right away. And I had my cat sleeping with me before we knew I was allergic to them, and I decided to get Missy and Molly out, which were my beloved cats. Guys, I could only get Missy. I'm sorry, Molly. She was so cute, guys. I don't even know if I have pictures of them anymore, but Molly came with me in a cat carrier, and I came outside, and my neighbors heard me out there with them and knew that I never took them cats out. I was always afraid for them getting hurt or abused, guys. And my neighbor Linda came over, who was like a family friend of, was the best family friend, my mother's best friend on earth. I don't know if Miss Linda's still here or not, but if you're watching this, Linda, I love you. But anyway, she was talking to Miss Tanya, her daughter, and said, Tanya, I gotta go. Carrying in never brings them cats out. Something's eerie wrong. And the firemen came over, guys. Bottom line, they tried to blame me. And they said that I started the fire somehow to get revenge or something. And then they said, well, what's your brother's number? And guys, I don't know one of my brother's numbers. And I said, well, it depends on talking about Derek or Bert. Which one? And I didn't want to call Derek because at the time, guys, I thought Derek was mad at me. I thought he hated me. He was mad at me. Well, guys, long story short, my cousin, I don't want to give out her real name on here either for privacy reasons. I'm going to say Deanna. Deanna wrote it on Facebook and said, guys, we got to win. Also, yeah, Uncle, when I said my dad's name, we can't find him, but Carrie Ann's alive and well, and the whole house is like busted out. By the way, guys, I actually called my Aunt Karen, and she's the one who told me to call the fire department because I was so scared. She said, well, it turns out Daddy left the stove on cooking. I'll take the blame. Just tell him I called you. I called up and told the dispatcher that I couldn't find my cat. She answers the name Moo Moo for short, or her real name, Missy. I said, can you please find my Missy? And I was like, at this point, guys, starting to cry. I couldn't find Missy. I was so scared. They came out, and they don't want to give out my address here. No, it's not the current address I live at, but oh my God, the house is on fire. Guys, I went back in for my cat. Never, please, guys, never, ever, ever go back in. Because Uncle Dennis taught me my whole life was when I'm out, don't you dare go back in, and I did it anyway. Anyway, guys, Aunt Kathy, I guess I can see her name in her comment, who is my Uncle Dennis's longtime girlfriend. They were together like almost my whole life, just about. Sorry, guys, my clock's chiming. Anyway, I wanted to be with my Aunt Karen, and my cousin Jen came to get me, and she left with her husband Carlos, and my cousin Jessie came to get me because she was like dead sleeping to the world. My aunt called her and was like, Jess, there was a house fire. Carrie Ann, she bought right, guys, because like I said, everybody knows in my family I do have disabilities. I am hearing impaired. I am vision impaired. I survived a coma. I have a ton of special needs as it is. And I am like literally a walking miracle. So this is another reason why I am here today. So guys, this is the moral of the story. Get out. You can leave anything behind. And I called up my aunt later on. I had my mother's wedding band in my pocket, which I kept with me just in case because I didn't want to steal it. And all my costume jewelry, because I love my costume jewelry. I had my teddy bear Corky with me hugging and crying because hello guys, I just had a house fire and my whole house is burned down. Not completely burned down, guys, but like there was a fire like this big in my basement and the rest was smoke. But it ruined my entire house. My whole house was wrecked, guys. My best friend actually went through the same thing, so unfortunately, guys. So today, it had been almost 11 years. Almost 11 years, and I'm okay with it, guys. It got me out of that house. That house was a bad neighborhood. We lived in a really bad side of town, and guys, I had an enemy back then who I think did this because he hated my guts, and he wanted me dead. He told me he would kill me, and then this happens. But anyway, guys, all ends well because we ended up moving here, and unfortunately, though, well, guys, anyway, like I said, my family was called. My uncle, I don't want to say my uncle's name here. I gotta go to Norman's pick on name. My Uncle Norman is a truck driver, so he was out, and my aunt called him and said, I have some really bad news to tell you. And of course, I mean, he's on the road, so he's like, what is it? And she said, there was a house fire at insert my childhood family home's name. He said, what? And then that's when he said, I'm going to ask you a question right now, Karen. He pulled over. He said, I need you to pull over to the road, and I need to tell you this. So he's getting emotional when she's telling him. He said, I'm going to ask you a question right now. I never thought I was going to ask. And she was, is Carrie Ann alive? And my aunt said, yes. We had an angel on our side this time. Carrie Ann's alive, but shook up and scared. Now, guys, my Uncle Dennis, who this unfortunately happened to, where his boys did not survive, his girlfriend called up my aunt's house while I was there. I was like, that's a very emotional story, and was crying, and my Aunt Kathy called, and my Aunt Karen said, Kathy, I'm not putting her on to you. You're hysterical. I'm not putting her on to you, because she kept crying. Do I have to tell Dennis? Do I have to tell Dennis? Do I have to tell Dennis? And she was like bawling. She said, do not tell, because my uncle was away on vacation. I think he was in the other state. I think he's a truck driver too, guys. All my uncles are truck drivers and firemen and like that kind of stuff, policemen. So my uncle was out on a drive, so she was like, should I call Dennis and tell him when he's on the road? She's like, don't call Dennis. He's on the road. Do not tell Dennis. This is an absolute horrible thing. Do not tell Dennis. Tell him, do not check his voicemail. Anyway, guys, they called him up and they told him right on the road, and he broke down crying. Now, guys, naturally, his sons died in a fire, and he was like, are you kidding me? He said the same thing Uncle Norman said. I'm not going to ask you a question now. In God's name, I never wanted to ask. Is Carrie Ann dead or alive? Thinking that I had died. And she said, no, she's alive. She shook up. She's frightened. She's scared. She's having nightmares now. But she's all right. So, guys, I almost got to spend the night there at my aunt. We couldn't find Daddy. Turns out he was at this house. We couldn't find him. So I had one cousin go to this house, and the house we were renting at the time that my brother was living in, that he actually moved out of. So I had nowhere to go. I was upset. Me and my teddy bears were out on the street. Not funny, guys. Me and my dolls were out on the street, and most of my toys were ruined in the fire. And my aunt said, honey, you can go to the thrift store and buy them. You got out. My most precious thing in that house to me, you got out. Because my dad was out. So she said, the most precious things to me got out. You and your father. The man who was like a father, a man who was like a son, a man who was like a brother to me. And my niece got out. That's all that matters. Guys, I'm sorry to tell you guys this emotional story, but I've been meaning to tell you guys this story for a really, really long time. And guys, I swear everything in this story is true. Except for names and certain information that I did change for family protection. If you guys like this kind of content, remember, comment, like, share, subscribe, and tell me down below if you guys have been fortunate enough to become a house fire survivor. It's a very, very elite club that most of us are not strong enough, not strong enough, but like not brave and not ready. I guess you guys say we're not lucky enough to join. But others out there who are in the club with me, God bless you all. And goodbye, guys.